Well, these are the things that come out of that flower bed. And although it might not look like it, there's actually quite a bit of things here that's going to have to be planted somewhere else in the yard. Of course, I have the grasses, the lawyer rope grass. And I'm probably, depending on where I put it, it may or may not get divided. I have the two Japanese sky pencil hollies. And y'all, I don't know what was going on with this one. The one I said wasn't doing good. But you can see it, the roots are like, I don't know if something ate on them or if they just never really took off and started growing. But I'm going to plant these two somewhere and we'll see what it does. If it doesn't grow, it's no big deal. I mean, it would have died if I'd have left it where it was anyways. And then in here I've got multiple of the salvia that I started from seed a few years ago. I've got quite a few of the echinacea. I've got yarrow. I've got a hollyhock that I started from seed. And these things that right here that looks dead, well, they've just died back. It's a spring blooming plant. They're actually bulbs. I don't remember what they're actually called. We just always call them blazing stars. And so they're real pretty in the spring and early summer, and then they die back. So I'll find somewhere to put those because there's quite a few of those too. Well, it's been a few days, and some of the stuff that I dug up out of that flower bed is actually looking a little rough, but it'll be fine because it's all perennials, and it's going to die to the ground anyways and have to be cut back. It'll flush out all new growth next spring, so I'm not worried about it. It clearly is all still alive. But I decided to put two of the salvias right here beside of this orange rose bush. It'll be between the rose bush and the cannas, and I think that'll be real pretty because the salvia blooms purple, and the orange rose and they're supposed to be pink cannas. I'm not sure. They've not bloomed. They didn't bloom this year. So I'm not sure if they're going to be pink or red. But they're supposed to be pink. We'll see next spring. All of that will get cut back to the ground. Black-eyed Susan vine has wrapped all around the cannas. And they're not a perennial. They're just an annual. So they'll get pulled up out of the ground as soon as we have a frost. And the coneflowers or echinacea is going to go right here. And I had purple and I had white. And so I only had one white and then I had two purple. So I'm not sure what color is what. But I already have, let me get my shadow out of here. I already had a purple one. Well, it's in between a pink and a purple. Planted here that I'd planted in the spring. No, it was in the summer. And because it was a clearance plant. And so I'm going to plant these two beside of it. And then I actually had two more, but they were small. And so I'm just going to plant them together in one little clump here. And like I said, they don't look like much. They were already starting to die back because in that other flower bed, they just didn't get the amount of sun that they needed, and they kept, every fall they would end up with like powdery mildew really bad and kind of die back to the ground. And here, I'm hoping here, because this is full sun all day long, I'm hoping here that I won't have that problem. I didn't have that problem with the ones I planted over there near the greenhouse. So this summer, there was no problem with powdery mildew in the summer, fall, or even now. late fall. So I'm hoping that it won't be a problem here. And so let's get these planted in. This salvia is putting new leaves all over the bottom of it already because we're still having pretty warm temps. And I think a lot of the plants are confused. And I'm not going to water these in as I'm not going to fill up the holes right now because it's so windy. It's supposed to start raining here in the next couple of hours. And if it were to not rain, I will have to come back and water them this afternoon. So there's those two. Also, I think that these echinacea is going to be really pretty next summer in front of this azalea. I will show y'all that when I get these two planted. And you can see this one actually could be divided into four. There's actually four of these echinaceas here, but I'm going to plant them in one clump for right now anyways. I'll say it's the season for green onions. They have popped up everywhere. So they're going to be in front of, there they are. They're going to be in front of this autumn twist encore azalea. And I thought that it was pretty much done with its final flush of blooms because it's a re-blooming azalea. But you can see I was wrong. It was really just getting started. It's blooming all over and it's still covered in buds. So I'm gonna get to enjoy this one for another week or so if we don't get a frost. And as far as I know, we don't have one in the forecast for the next at least 7 days. And this one's kind of small. I'm thinking this must be, well, I would say it was probably sprouts. Because, you know, these will self-seed. But you can see I've got 3 in this one. If you wanted to divide them, you would just dig them up and basically pull these apart. I mean, that's a separate one right there. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. But I'm putting them all in the same hole. And that's all there is to that. And this one is going to be planted in front of Russian sage. No, it's not Russian sage. It's the sage that you cook, that you use when you're cooking. And I don't know if y'all have ever grown this. I started it from seed. I think I started it in the spring, right before spring. And it actually blooms a really pretty purple flower if you don't like sage and don't want to grow it for, cooking purposes. It actually is a very pretty perennial in the landscape because you can see it has the bluish gray leaves, and this one will get pretty big. I've had them before where they would end up being, I don't know, around 4 foot tall. But when they bloom, they are so pretty. They bloom. It looks a lot like a salvia bloom, but it's a lot bigger. It's a lot bigger. But anyways, these will be in front of those. And I kindly hope this turns out to be the white one, because that would be really pretty right here with the purple. The coneflower, I mean.